year. The key question with Larry Bird, they were in a hard cap in the NBA. And when you look at this and bringing it back home, Adam Silver, Asia Wilson, Angel Reese, Breanna Stewart, who are the superstars of the WNBA, but especially for Caitlin because she has such brand marketing deals, probably averaging $30 to $50 million a year. The Bird rights gives a team an opportunity to re-sign its best player and not be restricted by the cap.
Larry Bird isn't someone who speaks just to be heard. When he says something, it matters. A 3-time champion, a Hall of Famer, a man whose presence alone once silenced entire arenas. 4 years, he stayed out of the spotlight, rarely seen, rarely heard. But then everything changed in a single, unforgettable moment. Live on television, Larry Bird walked up to Caitlin Clark, took the microphone from her hand, and said something that shook the entire sports world. Before we get into that moment, if you're enjoying this content, take a second to like and subscribe. Most people watching haven't yet, and it makes a huge difference. Now, back to what happened.
And put an understanding out, because with Caitlin and what the players and the collective bargaining agreement are negotiating, folks, I'm wondering if it's the best fit for the top players of the WNBA. CBA agreements, the collective bargaining agreement is coming up. They're going to have an intense meeting for All-Star Weekend. And I wanted to bring this up for Caitlin Clark and the Larry Bird rights rule. Okay? And we'll start from a revenue perspective as Caitlin leads the league in revenue. Where am I going with this? It wouldn't make sense to have a contract for Caitlin Clark.
You really have to see it to believe it. The interview was supposed to be routine. Caitlin Clark had just delivered a stellar performance. 28 points, 10 assists, and a clutch 3 that sealed a comeback win for the Indiana Fever. She stood there smiling, answering questions. Everything completely normal. Then the crowd got louder. Not game loud, different loud. From the tunnel, a familiar figure emerged, Larry Bird. He walked straight toward the broadcast table, eyes locked on Clark. At first, she didn't notice, but the interviewer stopped mid-sentence. The cameras widened. The entire arena shifted. Something was happening. Clark turned and froze. Not in fear, but in disbelief. A man who almost never appears in public was walking straight toward her. No script, no setup, just real, unscripted history unfolding. Larry Bird stepped in, gently took the mic, and looked into the camera. "I've been watching this game a long time," he said. "And this is different." He paused. "She's a real deal. Tough as anyone I've seen since the 80s. And I'm not going to stay quiet while people try to tear her down." For a second, silence. Then the arena erupted. This wasn't just praise. This was a statement, a defense, a line drawn in the sand. Larry Bird wasn't stepping in for himself. He was stepping in for Caitlin Clark, a rookie who had faced criticism, physical play, and constant scrutiny from the moment she entered the league. Clark covered her face. Her emotions took over. Not weakness, the weight of being seen by someone who understood greatness at its highest level. But Bird wasn't done. "She doesn't need protection," he said, "but she deserves respect. And if you can't see that, you're not watching the game." That was classic Bird, direct, raw, undeniable. He handed the mic back and stepped away. No show, no theatrics, just truth. In that moment, past and present collided. No script, no branding, just something bigger than basketball. Because here's the reality. No rookie in WNBA history has carried this kind of spotlight. Every move analyzed, every word dissected, every game turned into a headline. Yet through it all, Caitlin Clark never broke. And Larry Bird saw that. He knew what it felt like. To be doubted, criticized, misunderstood. To walk into hostile arenas and silence them anyway. He didn't just see a star. He saw himself. Clark stands out in an era where many athletes are polished and filtered. She's real. And because of that, she's become a target. But to Bird, none of that matters. Only one thing does. Can you play? And in his eyes, Caitlin Clark absolutely can. His message was clear. She belongs. And if you don't see it, you don't understand the game. Within minutes, The moment exploded online. Clips went viral. Former players reacted. Fans flooded social media. Because when Larry Bird speaks, people listen. The WNBA shared the full clip. Millions watched overnight. Ticket sales surged. Merchandise sold out. The conversation shifted. Suddenly, criticism quieted. Not because people were told to stop, but because it no longer made sense. For Clark, everything felt lighter after that. Freer. She returned to the court and played with joy, dropping 14 points in the fourth quarter alone. Later, reporters asked her about the moment. "I didn't expect it," she said, voice still emotional. "But if Larry Bird thinks I belong, then I believe it too." That wasn't just a quote. That was a turning point.